What's up, side hustlers? Today we have an exciting interview with Austin, who is a pressure washing expert that has over 4 years of experience with his pressure washing business. Today we're going to look at what is needed in order to get started, how much it's going to cost, how much money you can make with this side hustle, and tips and tricks with getting started that's going to expedite your pressure washing business. Trust me, there's a bunch of great nuggets of knowledge in this episode, so let's get started with the interview. All right, now we have Austin here. We're in the interview. The first question we have is, how long have you been pressure washing for?
What's going on, guys? So I've actually been doing this for about 4 years, actually.
Oh, wow. And I guess we're going to talk about all your experience and all your tips and stuff, but what's like your typical client? Is it for residential or commercial?
I mean, really, it's both. I would say probably 75% of it is residential. Over the years, we have a lot of repeat clients and stuff, but recently it's been a lot of commercial. So like parking garages, gas stations, restaurants, because all those kind of places need to get cleaned, twice a year. So
what about like the learning curve? Like how much information is there to get caught up to speed with?
The learning curve is huge. I mean, the funny thing is when you're talking to clients and talking to people that want to get into the industry, they think it's just as simple as spraying water. It's just like, and then you see some people like talk about, oh, all they're doing is spraying water. That is the furthest from the truth. It is like not even funny. Like if you're cleaning concrete, sure, yeah, you're spraying high pressure water. And when you're talking about houses, you're using water, but there's a lot of detergents, chemicals, soaps. There's all kinds of restoration products to remove, rust stains and all kinds of stuff. I mean, you really have to be proficient in what you're talking about.
Kind of taking a step back, I guess, what do you typically pressure wash for your clients? You're talking about like driveways, is housing, siding? Is it basically everything you can imagine?
It's exterior cleaning. So, really anything. It's anything from roof cleaning to gutter cleaning to house washing. And house washing is just a term for cleaning the house, the exterior of the house. Concrete cleaning, we a few restaurants that we've done, gas stations. We're contracted to do a huge 60,000 square foot parking garage in November.
Okay. What about, so say I'm someone that's watching this and after hearing the start of this, I'm convinced that this is something I want to look into. What do I need in order to get started?
Figure out your online presence. Even if I would tell someone new today, if you want to start your business, to get your online presence figured out first. Okay, like if you have $1,000, screw the equipment. I would go and spend money on a website, get a SEO guy in your corner, start on a monthly plan, and give it to someone who knows what they're doing, someone that can help you rank. Get all your friends and family to give you reviews. That way you're there. That way you have some dependable calls coming in. Focus on the jobs, because at the end of the day, you can always go and rent the equipment from Home Depot. Just get your online presence solved first. And then with whatever budget you have left over, you can buy your equipment accordingly.
Kind of go into like a different topic when you're mentioning like advertising, like where and how do you go about advertising in your area?
Really depends on where you're at, because some things work a lot better than other cities. I can tell you right now where I'm at in Austin, Google ads and Facebook ads, they really don't perform that well. I've spent $70 to $100 a day on Facebook ads, which is $3,000 a month, and I've had little to no turnover, basically barely breaking even, if that. My way of marketing has been, one, just making sure I'm ranked at the top of Google, and that kind of goes back into putting money in marketing. Putting money in your website and your SEO guy. Like really make sure that you have someone in your corner that's going to give you reports every month. Make sure that they're doing everything they can to get you at the top of that Google rankings, because it's very important. Like my other form of marketing is realtors. So this is what I did when I first started, because my family's in the real estate business. Like, man, they're selling like 30 homes a year. Like realtors deal with homes. So I have a list of 300 realtors, and I think 30 of them I'm actually like partnered with. Like every single time they sell a house, they use me. And so that's kind of my form of marketing. I don't pay really any advertisement. It was a lot of sweat equity up front with grinding for those connections, property managers, and then grinding for my rankings. And that pretty much provides me just a dependable income each year. And then, outside of that, if paid marketing worked for me, I would do it. But in my experience the last 4 years, it just hasn't worked that well.
What about what percentage of your time would you say you're like in the field actually pressure washing versus working on office things, whether it's working on the website or calling people or paying bills?
No, I spend equal amount of time in the field as I do out of like office stuff, quote unquote office stuff. I mean, I'm sending every single estimate email. I'm looking at the properties. I'm talking with these property managers and stuff. So I spend a lot of time doing like building the business stuff as well as actually doing the work.
Okay, and then I guess kind of lean to our next question, like how do you go about like bidding out a project for your clients?
There's no magic number with
Okay.
that. I mean, everyone wants to say, oh, you got to go by a certain square footage or whatnot. But look, dude, it's a simple, don't ever let someone tell you what you should charge for something. Okay. If you're new in the business, you have a lot of learning to do before you really figure out that number. Look, just figure out your expenses. What are your expenses? How much time is it going to take you? Figure out what your time's worth at this particular time starting your business. Okay. I don't care if it's 50 or $300 an hour. Figure out what's going to cost you, then figure out what you're worth, do the math and subtraction, and then add it up, and that's what you should charge.
What about, I know like the big question we're gonna get is like how much money can you make in say a single day with pressure washing?
It really depends on your equipment and your experience level, because as your equipment upgrades and your experience level gets higher and higher, you can do things a lot quicker. And because you can do things a lot quicker, you can get on to the next thing, right? You can get on the next thing, get on the next thing. I've done 3 or 4 or 5 projects in a day. Okay, and some of these projects are average $500, right? So I've had consistently through the busy seasons, I'll have $1,500 days, $22,000 days. I think the best day I've ever had was $3,700. We did a restaurant, and then we had 3 house washing projects to do. It was a huge day. But someone just starting out that knows nothing and their equipment isn't there yet, you're not going to be able to do that because your equipment and your experience and the level of everything dictates how much you can get done in a day. I mean, there's guys in my pressure washing Facebook group or on my YouTube channel that literally make $20,000-$30,000 a month. I am partnered with the biggest guy in my city, okay, and he has contracts with the airport. He does all the grocery stores. He has a over $100,000 a month pressure washing business.
What about what's like your monthly expenses then? And if you could give us like a little breakdown.
Really, the better answer to that question is like, what's your profit margins? Most sole operators, someone that's not paying an employee, because labor is a really intensive part of the cost in this business once you scale up. But really, most people can expect 50%, net profit returns, right? So if you go out and if you go out and have $1,000 a day, once you take your insurance and your website and your gas and your chemicals, blah blah blah, blah divided by 30 days in the month, that you have your monthly thing, right? So and then plus taxes, no one thinks about that. They gotta pay taxes, right? You can expect to keep half of $1,000.
What about, is it like too saturated to get started with pressure washing business? I feel like I've seen a lot more YouTube videos.
I mean, 4 years ago, it was a lot less than it is now, especially with YouTube. So it is a little saturated, but I wouldn't let people discourage you on just because there's someone else doing it, you shouldn't do it, because there's so many different levels of entrepreneur. Most people 5 years into the business quit. Most people don't last a year into any kind of business. They end up quitting. So don't let something like that discourage you. You can do whatever you want in this business.
Okay, and I guess kind of going off that, is there like certain people you would recommend not to do this as like a side hustle or start it as a business?
I mean, obviously, you want to be able to get up on ladders. You should be able to stay out in the heat. You have to have some level of stamina and energy. So if you're older, you have issues walking around, that might be an issue for you. But if you're a otherwise young, healthy individual, male or female.
All right, awesome. And then just kind of wrapping everything up, do you have any final tips for anyone who's looking to get started?
Be a sponge to information. That's all I gotta say. It doesn't matter what you want to do. Okay, you need to absorb as much information as possible. Really become an expert in what you're doing. Be passionate about what you're doing. Don't go half-ass into really anything. Unless you just want to have it as a side gig. But if you want to go all in on this, you really should contact the people you need to contact. Reach out to people that are going to help you, and really just go all in on it.
Yeah, I think that's a great final tip for us. But yeah, I just want to thank you for your time. And I feel like I personally learned a lot, and I'm sure our viewers did as well. So thank you. And if anyone wants to check out more of your information, you have tons of more videos on your channel. It's going to be linked down below. But yeah, thank you, and we'll talk to you later. Take care.
Appreciate it.
All right, bye.